Good morning everyone and a happy Sunday, and welcome to day 7 of 100 Days of Code with me, Lilly Code. Let's go. What we're going to be doing today is such an aggressive let's go. So what we're going to be doing today is, first of all, I need to start off by fixing this Github error because I still haven't got around to fixing it, and as a result I'm not committing any of these changes, which really means I'm breaking the rules and I should probably start again. But look, let's just keep on going, and I'm sure by day 100 I'll be too excited, and the thoughts of doing 6 more days, who knows. Look, it's always good to just keep on coding, so maybe I should just finish it and commit it, but let's get this sorted now, and let's just do it together. It seems something really silly. So anyway, I'll talk you through the problem, I'll talk you through how I got here, and we will fix it together, because I'm sure some of you someday will have this same issue. So there's no point in thinking, I don't want to look like an idiot solving something so simple on camera, because everything that's simple, you know, it's always simple once you know. So let's just go anyway. That's enough waffling out of me. So we're gonna cd into our folder, my app, this is where our project is, and then I'm gonna just try and add these changes, right? So I'm gonna just add, I know I have an error and everything but I'm trying to fix Git, and this error can be resolved. Again, I still have a lot of code there that needs to be tracked. So Git is just where you save your code, and it's really useful because it saves it on a website, not on your local machine. So if something goes wrong on your local machine, you can always roll back to a previous saved version, and you save it really incrementally. Like, as soon as you have a small little bit done, just commit. So, you know, once I fix this bug, once we're finished, I'll commit and I'll say bug fix for cannot read local property undefined or whatever, you know, and make it descriptive, because you will find there's times in your project where everything goes haywire and you need to roll back just one or two, excuse me, and I hit my microphone there, 1 or 2 previous saves in order to get back to a position where things aren't a mess anymore. So let's have a look at this. So if I do git and add dot just means add everything, and so does a hyphen and a capital A. Yes, a hyphen and a capital A, or git add dot, just stands for git add everything. Let's have a quick look at the difference between them, because dot, I can't remember, or what the difference is, but seeing as I'm talking about them, just talking about them, I should let you know. So maybe if we have a quick look, git add dot or add everything. Okay, look, I'm not getting enough information there on the fly, so we're gonna just continue. Yeah, but I just feel like I didn't see what sort of answers I was looking for from the beginning, so there's no point wasting time and looking for this answer. I can find it at a different time and let you know what the exact answer is, rather than, you know, wasting your time and my time. Well, your time, I'm more concerned about your time anyway. Now I'm wasting it again, so let's just keep going. So now I want to git commit. So this is just saying add my changes. So you git commit. So first you've added all of your changes to the staging area to say I want to add these to my Git repository. Now you're going to commit them, which is more set in stone. You send a message and you send up the files. So now the files that you've added, which in our case is all of them, you've already told it which files to add, and now you're giving it the message that you want to add on this particular commit of files. So for example, a good commit message for where I am in my project could be progress. Well, first of all, I'll start with day 7 because it's day 7 and then I'll say, you know, progress to section, whichever section I got to, which was, I think section 5 or something we're already at. We're flying it, lads. Sure, we're flying it. So, yeah, we're making good progress, actually. Chapter 5, yep. Progress to, well, I could just say chapter 5. Oh, sugar. Day 7, chapter 5. Set up project, expenses, and cards. So that sort of summarises what we've done so far. So we have our expenses all set up and our expense form and everything related to expenses. We've set up a UI card component in order for us to just put things in a card-like structure when we're using them in our project. So if we wrap something in this card, it just gives it an automatic border radius that makes the borders like a square, like a circle. A square with rounded edges. A square with rounded edges, if you know what I mean. So something a bit like this. Just a card, like a card, a deck of cards. So we've added a CSS class to make something similar to a card. This corner is slightly rounded. It's not a straight angle. Oh God. I'm sorry guys, it's Sunday morning, so this is cracking me up. I'm not explaining anything very well. Maybe I am, so let's just keep going. So I'm going to commit those changes. So as we can see here, once we've committed it, we have changed 7 files. That's just because I've previously commit, but I haven't been able to push. So if this was the push for the first time after creating this project, it wouldn't be 7 files changed. It would be many more. There is many more than 7 files here. So that's just since the last time I committed, but seeing as I wasn't able to push. Then 57 insertions. So we've added in 57 things and we've taken away 40 things, 40 deletions. So that's just a summary of our changes, and these are the 2 files that have changed, or that have been created, excuse me. We've changed 7 files, but we've also created expense filter CSS and expense filter JS. So this gives you a brief summary of what you've changed. And now we're going to try and push, because first you add, commit and push, and we will then see the story with pushing and the error I get, and let's solve it together. Oh yeah, okay. So just because I still haven't pushed to this branch yet, we just need to tell it that we want to push to our origin branch, aka on the website, and to the main branch. So we created a branch called main, and that's the branch that we're on. I really have to do a video on Git, because like if I'm just talking about branches and main and stuff and you've never heard about it, it's not going to make much sense. But hopefully you have a bit of background, and if not, stay tuned. I will have to do a Git video. I will do one for you and just go through the concepts and talk about branches and talk about pushing and committing and what it's all about. And I do have a setup of Git video that I did do that I'll leave in the description box down below. So that setup Git video really goes through just a setup, how to set up Git for the first time on your computer, and that should be helpful as well if you've never done it and you're not even sure how to set it up, because first coming to code, and one of the biggest struggles is getting your equipment and stuff set up. It's so foreign, it's so alien. So check that out if you want to know how to do a full development server setup, a full development system setup, setting up your code editor, setting up your GitHub, pushing to GitHub, doing the works. So check that out, and starting an Angular project as well, that was in there too, so have a look. So we had to get Node installed and stuff also. So let's just try and push, see what the error is. Okay, so yeah, basically what happened was I created a new account on GitHub for these videos, and then I pushed on the first day of 100 days of code, and I was like, I don't want this dummy account that I've created for the purpose of a video getting my commits. I need the green lights on my branch. So then I tried to switch back, and because I have these two different accounts somewhere logged in memory, it's going a bit haywire. So that's what's happening. So we have to just reconfigure it to let it know that my account is the account I need to use. Gonna have to blur out my personal email address or something. Although, you know, but still, just the interweb, you just need to be a little bit careful. But so for that, yeah. Anyway, let's have a look. So first of all, I'm gonna Google this message and just follow some of the. So this is how developers fix bugs. A lot of the time, you just grab the bug, remote permission denied, unable to access, right? You grab the bug and you search for it. That's all you do. So I'm gonna say changed account, because that's pertinent information as well to what's going on here. So changed account. Okay. Change Github account. Trying to connect with a new account. Yeah, okay, here we go. How did I miss that one? So I have two GitHub's account, a personal one and a new one. Great, this guy has got the exact same issue as me. I've already changed. I did that too. Yes, so when you first set up a Git account, there's a Git config, so you just type into the terminal Git config username, user.name, user.email, and pass in your email and pass in your username, and this will then tell the Git what email and what username you're using. So by doing this, you're just telling Git which ones to use. So I've already told it, actually I want to use this other account, my real account. So by doing that, I thought it would have just automatically let me start pushing back on my old account, but then I start getting these errors. So I did already tell it, listen, that's the wrong email address, you're looking at the wrong thing. But it hasn't worked. So this guy has done the same thing. I've already changed my user.email and user.name in Git Bash. So, and when I try to push, I get the following error. And yes, we have the same error, permission to this denied to old username, exactly, yeah. So that's great. So we just need to follow what this guy has done, because I found the exact solution. And I think previously I just hadn't used the correct keywords. Maybe I didn't cut out enough of the URL, and I was just kept the URL in there, which sort of throws it off, and I didn't say changed account, I just said new account or something, because I didn't get such a direct hit before. So that's great. Okay. So I'll read this out, and I'm going to take it a bit slow because I can tend to brisk over these things, and you know, we need to get to the bottom of this now. So nice and easy does it. Take your time and understand fully before you start just hammering things into the terminal. It's my advice for myself and for you, so just speaking out loud. Let's go. So where username 1 is my GitHub account username hosting the repository I want to push to, and username 2 is an old account I used to use on the machine. He's using a Mac OS, I am on Windows, but that's okay. So we'll just keep on reading. Some commands may be different on Windows and on Mac, but none of the Git ones are, as far as I know. They're not. So we'll just keep on going. You might need to use, I was going to say you might need to use sudo sometimes, but I still don't even think that comes into it with Git. It's for other operations on your terminal and in your command prompt that you would want to use, which are the same thing, your terminal and your command prompt, that you would want to use sudo, which is just running as an administrator in Windows. So yeah, just some general terminology. Oh, that was a good one for me anyway. So let's keep going. So I'm not talking about the config user. Yeah, how do I successfully update username 1 so I can push to my remote? To be clear, I'm not talking about simply editing the config, because they have nothing to do with authentication. What? Well, no wonder that solution didn't work for me then. Oh, I didn't know it was just like setting it, and it doesn't necessarily. So then I guess SSH keys is auth, no? Oh, that's very interesting. So this person has said thanks, but setting the username and the email like this, where you do your git config and you tell it the name of your git, that this only shows us which name, who gets the credits for the commits, but it doesn't at all authorize that user to push the commits. It just gives them credit. So you need to set them for the credits so that they get logged as the person who did these code changes, but you also need to give them the access. So they're two different things. So that's great. This doesn't resolve the problem. What if I go? So someone suggested something, and then they said this doesn't resolve the problem, so I'm not going to look at that one. In addition to changing username and email from the terminal using Git Config, I've already done this loads of times. You'll need to remove authorization info from Keychain. I did find this problem before. So I found this issue before, I think, but like it's very set up for a Mac. I was just like, what? How is this relevant? But okay, let's keep going. Maybe I shouldn't have just thrown it out the window last time, but I just wanted to get back to coding. So change your username and email. I've done that. Change your username and email for the current repo. Aha. Okay, so I'll also change it for the current repository. So let's do that now. Let's just do it all so you know what's going on here, right? So how you tell Git who you want to do your commits. This is how you do it. So you type into the terminal git config and then -- global, which is saying for my whole computer who I want to be excuse me, logged as the owner of these commits. So user.name, what's the name of the person who you want globally to be given credit for the commits, and it's Leanne LB. That's my username on GitHub. So yeah, we'll just press enter and that'll config that, and then you do the same for the email. And sorry, but I'm gonna just like keep that private because it's my email address, and yeah, just I will. So I'm gonna type in, and if you end up seeing it someday, like it's no big deal, but I think still probably shouldn't plaster your private information on the interweb. So okay. And then I'll just clear that. So all I did was set up my username and my email, And that's globally, so you should also do it for your current repository where you are right now. So without the global flag, dash dash, and then a word in the terminal is a flag. It's telling it, flagging something on or off. So when we do dash dash global, we're sticking a flag out saying we want this to be a global change. Whereas without the flag, it's just within that current project. So let's do it for the current project. I was going to press up and then you were going to see my email. So yeah, so when you're in your terminal, if you just press the up button, up, like as in the arrow, it will bring back your last command. So it's very handy. You don't have to keep typing out, you know, whatever it is that you're typing. You can just go up. You can just go up through your previous commands like that. So what I'm going to do here is now, my camera's giving out to me again. Right, look, I'm just going to just pause this for a moment. I have to fix this. Okay guys, so that is brilliant. We can now proceed with our coding, logging our coding, and just get on with it. So let's go. Okay, that's enough dancing. Let's get serious. We have some learning to do, you guys. So can't stop dancing. Okay. Right. Okay. So, oh, my microphone. Sorry. Pardon me, excuse me. I said a word under my breath. Okay. So, time to keep on going with the course, which is so exciting. So let's go. This. Yep, that'll do. That'll do. And let's go. So this error, now we best get on with this error. So I'm going to just fire up my application. So npm start in order to start the React application. Oh, it's already running, so that's keeping on going. Okay, cool. Well, I'll just start it again. I'm going to delete the old one. It's nice to fire it up fresh after all that time and work that we did. So I'll just fire it up again anyway. Awesome, and the error is gone. See, this is why it's important to this is why it's important to sometimes restart your servers and have a look at just even doing a hard refresh on the page. I already hard refreshed that page and that error didn't go away yesterday. So, and it just occurred to me, excuse me, it just occurred to me that possibly when I go and start clicking things, that error may come back up. But you know what, I'm just so happy that we're here, so I'm going to just continue. So let's go. Just going to write down WD-40 so you don't have to keep listening to my squeaky chair. Okay. So as always, I'm just watching the video a little bit, and then I'll start coding. Okay, so when we're passing through the expense item from the expenses.js, we need to give it an ID also. So we tell it, we give it a unique ID, so the key. So when you have an object or a key value pairs, you have the key and then the value. So we need to give it a key so it has a unique identifier basically. So here we're going to do expense.id. Okay, so I actually never redid this thing at all. So this should be expense ID. This should be, so now, okay, yeah, so now we're mapping this expense, right? So this can actually go. This can that can go because now we're mapping the expense like this. And we have, that should be an opening. Okay, so what Max has done here is props.item.map and expenses in brackets. Then he has opened up a curly brace here, and what we want to render for each round of the map is these things. We have our expense item with the title, with the amount, and with the date, and then we want to add another curly bracket because we added one of those in, and now we want to add a key, so a unique identifier. Key is equal to .id. So there you go. And now we have lost all of our expenses. Let's try and add them just to see if it's at least adding them, but I doubt it if it's not displaying them, but you know, good to check. Okay, and I'm opening my developer tools. You open these with CTRL Shift and I on a Mac, on a Windows, and you can go here to more tools, developer tools. So now I've changed my browser. I'm on Brave at the moment. So more tools, developer tools, developer resources in Brave, but developer tools in all other browsers. So I'll submit this. console is cleared. Okay, so expense. Oh, it's 10 to 10. I go litter picking on a Sunday, so I better go and catch the litter, and I'll be back with you because I still have to finish my time. So I'll be back to complete the other half an hour, but I've got to go and get the litter. So have a lovely day. If you see some litter in your local area, pick it up. And have a lovely day, and I'll speak to you very shortly to finish off the other half an hour. So see you then. So hi guys, I'm back in the door from litter picking, and I said I'd wear my high vis in the video just to say don't litter, and even better, go out and pick up some litter in your local area. Why not, you know? We all have to contribute, and had a great old time. I do it with some of the locals, and yeah, it's grand, and you get out, nice little walk in the sun. It's a beautiful day today in Ireland, we're very lucky, so get out there and pick up some litter, and let's keep going anyway. That's as much of a, I was going to say bashing I'm going to give you, but it's just a bit of encouragement. Certainly don't litter, and pick up somebody else's to make it all a little bit better and clean for everybody. And we're going to keep going. I'm just watching the video for a moment, as I do. So now he is declaring a new constant, and this is all of the expenses. And we're going to filter them. So filter will return a new array. It's not gonna, it takes the original items and returns a new array, filtering out them based on some value. So So this is what's going to allow us to filter by our various years. So this is going to check if the expense date, the date that's on it, is the same as the filtered year. So first of all, we have to get the year from the actual date object that we have saved in our expense. So the expense.date is our particular expense, one of those expenses that we had, like health insurance or home insurance, and within that home insurance then we have a date inside that object, a date property. So we're accessing the date property on the individual expense. We want to get the full year, so get the year from the date and then transfer that to a string. So it's just like 2020, which is what the filtered year matches up to, is that same year. And once they're the same, then we'll filter by that. So we're just filtering by the year. Okay, so here when we have select, oh here, okay, it's just because mine isn't indented. I was wondering what is going on. So yeah, so we have our filter change handler, and we have our filter here. I'm just figuring out why mine is giving me some errors, so I'm just trying to look around, see what he's doing here, and just check that I don't have anything mental. Right, so I'm going to give this a hard reload. So trying to solve these errors here, I just spotted, and I will zoom in because you guys got to be able to see my console also. So now hopefully that's a bit better, and we just go back to the console, and here we can see this errors, these errors, expense date is defined but never used. And then I noticed this one, expected triple equals and saw double equals. So this still hasn't reloaded because I changed this to a triple equals on line 16. So I'll just give it a hard refresh. And to do that, you just hold down this button. You click and hold down on the left mouse key, which is just the regular one, the one you click for everything. So whenever people say left mouse key, I'm like, left or right, but it's just the one you use all the time. Is the left one, so you just keep your finger pressed on it and then drag down, and you can do a hard refresh. And there's also a keyboard shortcut for that, which is CTRL Shift and R. But yeah, I do the empty cache and a hard reload, but you can do a hard reload with your keyboard shortcuts as well, and that'll be different on Mac, and it'll tell you on a Mac what it is. So I didn't really need to do that again, but expenses.js. An expense item. Okay, expense date. So I'm not really certain. Line 6. So this is being imported, but it's not being used. Let's just get rid of it for a moment, which I don't think is the right answer, but let's just get rid of it for a moment. Now it's saying 123. Expects a return value. Sorry, sometimes like I have a feeling this is going to be quite a simple thing once I solve it, and people are probably looking on, you're missing a bracket. But I don't see it, so so I'm just figuring it out. Yeah, it was a bracket. I had a feeling it was a bracket. I was looking at that curly bracket going, that shouldn't be a curly bracket, but just didn't have the confidence to say that shouldn't be a curly bracket. So have confidence as well in your decision making. You know, I actually was looking thinking that shouldn't be there, but just didn't have the confidence, as I said. So take a gamble, take a guess, stick in a bracket. No, no, don't just stick in a bracket. But so now so that's coming from expense form. Line 24. Okay, so I feel like I should pass in something in here, because I'm telling it. Let's have a look. Or is this saying save the props? Let me just make this bigger. You won't see my head for a moment, which is all good. I'm sure that doesn't bother you guys. So let's have a look and try and figure out what's going on here. So they're all okay. You just have your event handler getting the event, and then you're setting it with the event at target value, which makes perfect sense. So we go down to our submit handler, which is taking the event, and then it's saying prevent the default on the event. Then we have our expense data declared. I need to do something with this. I need to pass it somewhere. I think it's in here, but I don't want to just guess, but like, let's try that because that's what I think I should be doing. So let's see. What the crack-a-lack-a-jack is there. So we still don't have our list anyway. But we'll try and add one and just say if we get a new value. So yay! Woohoo! Okay, great. So all that's wrong now is we just are doing something wrong when we initialize our dummy data. We did that in the last episode. We changed our static array that we were just displaying on the screen into a dynamic array that we could add things to then and alter it on the fly by adding extra items like we've just done here. So we allowed this to happen by making it dynamic. And yay! So there you go. So let's try a different year. So the filter is not. Yay! So they're there. It's just because they were a different year. So the filter's working, we have our filter working, and we have our items. So I'm very happy with that. That's awesome. So now let's have a little look at this. Each child should have a unique key property. We added our key property. We did that not so long ago. So check the render method of expenses. So let's just go and check the render method of expenses. Okay, do I need? Yeah. Oh no, okay. Okay, yeah, so we're filtering it. So I just checked Max's video here, and he had it like this. He had props.items. And I was thinking, am I doing something wrong there? Should I have props.items? But I shouldn't, because we've since changed that. He went further on. He went further on, and we've since what he was just doing. So we used to have props.items, but now we were passing in the filtered expenses, because the filtered expenses is taking the props.items and then it's performing a filter on it. So we still do have the props.items coming in here. They've just been filtered by the year. So having filtered expenses down there is actually correct, and we do want to map the filtered expenses that have been filtered by year instead. So we will do that. Awesome. Okay, great. Okay. Cool. And something else I might just do, because this also just has to get done, and won't worry about those for a moment. Won't worry about them for a minute. So something else that I need to do is get the CSS from Max's project in order to make this look a bit better up here. So let's just do that so it doesn't look so crummy anymore. So in order to do that, I need to go to O'Reilly. And I need to come here. And here is the GitHub location, and where have we made it to? So we're on chapter 5. So if I go to the commits, so this is the repository associated with this particular project, and then if I go to the commits, I should see, sorry, I don't know why I'm so like yawning. I'm a yawner, I think, sometimes. But yeah, so if I go here to code files added, in some projects they have each commit is the various chapters or something, but that's not how he's after doing it. So we'll figure out now how he's after doing it. So if we come back here to the React Complete Guide, let's just open that. It's not great the way like you can't read what's going on here. 5 render. Let's just make sure, because I've downloaded this project before and then I see other stuff in the folder. Rendering lists. Yeah, so this is what we're currently on, chapter 5, but we're very nearly finished it, are we? Yeah, we're getting to the end of this section, so in order to include the changes that have already been made, I'm going to go to 6, because I just think that that makes more sense, because then we'll have all the changes that were made within the 5th chapter. So if we download this particular folder, that's grand. We can stick it, yeah, and just the thoughts of like taking a picture every day and making, you know, just unnecessary, like obviously my thumbnails for other pictures, other videos are different, but just for every day, to cut this down as little as possible. My aim is not to be looking looking pretty. My aim is to get my hour of coding done, so that's why you see the same picture every day. Okay, so if I open this up in code, what? I mustn't have added the shortcut when I added this, but why can't I even get bash? Is it because it's still extracted? Not extracted, I should say. So I think that's what it is. So if I go to YouTube, don't even know where I put that now. There, yeah. So if I extract this, extract all in here, it's grand. Oh no, that's somebody else's stuff. Right, so now we have this, and then I can open this, open with code. There we go. So now I can go to code. See what's up with this. Like, did he change it drastically from 5 to 6, or we don't have any of this stuff? So let's go back and download 5, because I don't see the same stuff in 6. So 5 is actually where we're at. Perhaps he starts doing something else in the next one. So we'll go with 5. We will extract it. We will open it with code. So we want to go back. Just delete this. So if we extract, open the code. I trust the authors. Max is a trustworthy guy, or at least he seems to be. So yeah. And what? 5. Like, what's going on? So output and conditional content is what we're looking at. Chapter 5 is where we're on. So let me just see which one of these. Rendering lists and conditional content. Where is our expenses and all? No idea. Max. I just have to check, because I've looked through this a few times now, so let's just make sure it's definitely not in here. And then I found it as well for the main CSS of the project, so just don't know. Okay, so what I'm going to do is search in Git and let you see me say hello again. Hi guys. So what I'm going to do is search in the main project. Oh, I don't see that. In the main project, search. File finder, start typing to filter the file expenses. Like, where are these files? Don't know. Okay guys, so I'm just going to forget about getting Max's CSS, but what I might do is just add a little bit of my own styling in order to make this look slightly better. So let's just come up with some of our own styling and, you know, do it as we go and style our own components here. So already this looks a bit crappy, you know, and let's just filter this so we can see a few of the items. So we'll do something similar. Maybe we'll make this part purple and just put a border around it and make it a bit similar to this. So perhaps we could even wrap this in a card, because why not get these curved edges and the styling that comes along with the card. So let's go to where the title is and the amount and the date, which that's an expense, isn't it? Because we're adding in one expense. So new expense, here we go, it's our expense form, yeah. So in our expense form here, oh, so it looks like new expense. Okay. Ah, okay, so here we have some CSS for expenses, and then here we have new expense. So first of all, I will just wrap this in a card to see how that looks and have a go at that. And if it's terrible, sure, we can always go back. So let me wrap this in our card component. Oh, and I was looking at the keyboard and all for that one. That's a funny one. So, and we want to wrap it because we want all of this to be inside of a card. And I really need to get an auto formatter, but let's not keep going off on little, you know, getting confused. Well, going on, off. It's all coding, so it's all good. So card, and then we want to import it from, oh no, we need to go up a level into UI and then into card. Cool. So dot dot, and then the / is going up, whereas this one is saying get it from the same folder. So as you can see here, right, where we're at in new expense, where we are now, if we want to access this card component, and in comparison, if we want to access the expense form component, in order to get to the expense form from new expense, it's in the same folder here. So all we need to do is just say, like, in this level where you currently are, go to expense form, whereas the card is outside, it's in its own folder. So how do we get out and get in there? Well, if we close these up, we'll see that these are all at the same level, but we need to come out of this folder to then be able to get into the UI folder. So if we go out of the folder, dot dot and a / goes up a level, then we can go into UI, then we can go into card. So that's what's going on there, and why there's 2 dots here and 1 dot here. It's how you access the different folders. And I have a plugin called Path Intellisense installed, and it's very, very, very helpful. It will fill in these paths for you all over your files. So get that installed. It's a really helpful extension, so I'll just show it to you here. Path Intellisense, I'm sure I have it installed. And if that's just the default behavior, which I think it definitely does improve it. So all right. Okay, no, so it's actually just doing that, which is even better. Yeah, grand. So you don't even need to install something to have that functionality. I thought I had installed something and I thought previously that hadn't worked, but even better, it comes straight away with Visual Studio Code. So when you do the dot dot, it will give you suggestions, so you can't go too far wrong, you know. So just have a look at your file structure, and if you're not seeing the right one, maybe try and go up and see, but try and follow it from your actual finder, from your file explorer, and make logical guesses. But if not, it will suggest if you're a bit stuck, so that's just a good thing to know. So yeah, so we have our card here now. Alright, so look, now we have a card. That's great. So I mean, you know, it's still doesn't look much better, but it's slightly improved. So that's good. And another thing I noticed was we have this expenses being defined in here, but we're not using it in our new expense. So I'm going to just change the class name in there from expenses to new expense. So whatever properties are on that, it applies them to this, and just see how that looks, seeing as we already have some padding and a background color and stuff added. So we'll just have a look and see how this looks if we assign that new expense. So there we go. So from here, a few things that I would add personally to make this look slightly better is I'm going to change this background color because we've got too much black going on. So if you just hover over here, you can come down and pick whatever color you like. Let's go a bit bright, why not? And that'll do. Yay, that's nice. So we'll keep that like that for the moment, and then also I'd like more padding margin. So in order to figure out exactly how we want to style this, you can come to your inspector and have a play with a few things. So that's quite helpful, you know. So we can come in here and so there are new expense controls. Grand. So see, we can style them now from using this CSS class. So I mean, what might we like to do? Well, I think I'll change the text to white first of all. So let's do that. So say we want to start our new class. This is our new class, and we'll say color white, and have a look at that. I thought that would have worked. Oh, it did. Okay, it's cool. And then we'll also add some padding around the label. So if we go back to our new expense, so we should nearly be adding this to our expense form, because our expense form is what has that information. So we'll actually, so why aren't these being picked up then? Expense form, new expense controls, new expense control. So let's have a look. Okay, because we don't have those particular CSS classes added. So we actually do, I did find Max's CSS at some stage, but I must have pasted it in from a later part in the tutorial, because these class names don't match up with the class names that we have in our actual HTML file, so, or our JS file, excuse me, and our JSX code. So the classes that we have here are new expense controls and then new expense control. And over here we have expense items and expense descriptions, and expense items, you know, the price description, none of them match up to these. So that's why we can't see that. So what I actually might do is start implementing some of these classes. And I'm sure we'll get later on in the video where Max will explain this and we can do it with him together. Oh, for God's sake. Sorry guys, I don't know how my phone, it just keeps getting so full of memory. So given that we've actually completed our hour, sorry to just cut you off here like this, but my phone is about to go kaput, so I will catch up with you again at the hour of coding is done. We will continue with styling our box when we come in and continue with the video in our next hour. Thanks so much for joining me on day 7, really appreciate it, and I'll speak to you all later. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, or whatever day you're watching this. Have a lovely day, and thanks a million, and appreciate every single one of you watching. Thank you guys, thanks very much. See you later.